Hello and welcome to Lingui, the channel dedicated to language. Today we will be taking a look at the very first lesson in Spanish Illustrated. What is Spanish Illustrated? Well, it's a series of videos with the focus and goal of learning Spanish. It is illustrated not in the artsy way, but in the way that it is simply explained and easy to follow or use, practical and readily available for use in the real world. Today's lesson is in fact the first in the series. As such, it is Unit 1, Lesson A, or Unidad 1, Lección A. Today we are going to be learning about learning Spanish, as this episode is entitled. First, we must examine why one would learn Spanish in the first place. If you're watching this video, you probably have your own reasons that you have already decided for learning Spanish. Whether it be travel, friends, or just for fun, those reasons are all very good reasons. But I'm here to tell you that if you don't have a very, very good reason to learn Spanish, and a good goal that you wish to achieve and accomplish within a reasonable amount of time, you can't be serious about learning the language. In fact, eventually you'll probably just forget about it and move on. One reason that you can learn Spanish and a good goal is to talk to the many Spanish speakers that exist in the world. And one reason is that so many of them do exist. In fact, after Chinese, Spanish is the most widely spoken language in the world. There are more Spanish speakers than English speakers, if you look at the data. Spanish has 414 million native speakers, while English has fewer, 335 million native speakers. That means by learning Spanish, you more than double your range of interaction. Good for people who are traveling and people who stay at home. Another reason that you can learn Spanish is not the amount of people that speak Spanish, but the ease at which you can learn Spanish. If you just want to learn a language, then Spanish is a good place to start. First, because there is so many speakers, you can get lots of real-time practice. There is a good chance that at least one of your friends knows a little bit of Spanish, and that they will practice with you. Now, the most important reason is that Spanish and English have similar grammar and vocabulary. That means that learning Spanish is quite easy for someone who already knows English. Why? Let's look at the language tree for that. As you can see, Spanish and English are both rooted in Latin. Now, Latin was the language of the ancient Romans and is not spoken anymore, but English and Spanish are both what you might call descendants of it. That means that words from Latin that come into English are the same or similar to ones that come from Latin into Spanish. Thus, we get similar words in both languages. Let's look at a few examples. The English word language and the Spanish word lenguaje. Of course, they both mean language, and they look very similar. Let's look at another. Electronic in English to electronica in Spanish. Just add one letter to the end, and it just switches over. And how about one more? Paper to papel. That's just a switch up of one letter, and there is a different language there. Now, some words that have been used more recently don't have a base in Latin, because they are more modern words. Thus, they come straight from English into Spanish. Let's look at an example. Email in English is the exact same in Spanish. Email. So if you came here to learn vocabulary, there's one word for you. So as you can see, not only is Spanish a good investment of time, but it is easy to learn, so it won't take you much time at all. In this series, that I do hope you will continue with, we are going to learn Spanish grammar, vocabulary, a little culture, and we're going to practice a lot. Because the key to language is practice. I recommend the use of a website called Duolingo. It is free and will help strengthen your vocabulary with repeated use. And you can sign up at duolingo.com. And did I mention it's free? The next video in this series, Unidad 1, Lección B, will be out soon. And in that video, we'll get to the real learning. Not just learning about learning. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Always remember, dicara outro sprache es ouvir o porta. This has been Spanish Illustrated, Unidad 1, Lección A.